Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me again. I'm back, your movie guru, with another review. This time is going to be a movie that's a little bit older, but I didn't get the chance to see it in theaters. To be honest, it really didn't, just from the trailers that I saw, it wasn't something that interested me that much, so I didn't go and see it. But it's now on Amazon Prime for those of you with Amazon memberships. And then, especially during this time, since the theaters are still closed, it was something that I figured, why don't I check it out? I am talking about none other than Hotel Artemis. It's got some decent talent, and Jodie Foster, Sterling Brown, Sophia Boutella, and Dave Bautista. There's a few other actors, but for those of you who don't know anything about it, the basic premise is that there's this secret type of hospital that only criminals use, and it's for a bank robber if they rob a bank or something, and they get shot or injured during the getaway or whatever. Obviously, they can't go to the hospital. The police are going to be looking for them. If you've got a membership to, this secret hospital, Hotel Artemis, then you can get fixed up, and it's a place where you can lay low. For those of you who are familiar with the John Wick series, the it's very similar to the idea of the Continental, except the Continental is not just a hospital, but it has similar rules that you have to have a membership, and since it's mainly done, the people being served are criminals. There can't be any police, and the other criminals can't kill the other criminals in there. It's kind of a neutral ground. So that said, that type of premise, I did find kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing a movie about the Continental and the inner workings of it, and I could see a lot of interesting meetups there. When you've got assassins and bank robbers, and all these type of people mixing together in one place. So that was interesting to me. To give you my rating right up front, I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. It's got, I think, a 54% score by the critics on Rotten Tomatoes, but a lousy 34% score by the audience. And I'm not surprised. If I went and did go and see this in theaters, I would be more disappointed than I am. I will say, just being able to see it on Amazon on my own time, watch it over a couple of days, it served its purpose well. It kept me entertained. But that said, I do understand why the ratings are so low. So the acting is pretty good. I think Jodie Foster does a good job. Sterling Brown, he does a great job as well. None of that, takes you out of it as far as, hey, this acting sucks. And so, I couldn't get involved in the film, emotionally involved. But just a lot of the things that are supposed to bring the action kind of fall flat. Some of the cool things that do happen is there's a little bit futuristic in some of the medicine that the doctor Jodie Foster uses. So they've got nanites that help you rebuild. They've got like state of the art X-ray systems and that type of thing. So that was pretty cool to see. But a lot of the fighting scenes really do fall flat. They're really mediocre. There weren't any like cool slick fighting scenes that you walk away and think that was pretty decent. For those of you who don't know, I always consider the Raid and the Raid Redemption are like the golden standard when it comes to you know fighting and that type of action. So I don't hold everything to that standard, but this one, or even the Jason Bourne films, those have got a lot of great hand to hand combat scenes. But this one, I'm thinking now of the scenes that I saw, and none of them, were spectacular or memorable, and that you could differentiate them between them and any other dozen films that you've seen thus far. So there's that, and then the plot really isn't all together there either. So it takes place that during, it's kind of in the future, and it's in California, and people are rioting over water. And so these criminals kind of get trapped in this hospital with this big giant riot that's going on around them. And, the rioting turns violent, so they can't really go anywhere. And it's not anything really compelling. Some of they try to bring in some different aspects to it to try and make it a little bit deeper. Jodie Foster, they try to give her a little depth in that she's doing this. She's not like a criminal. That's not why she's holding this hospital for the criminals. She's not someone that want to get rich or any of that. And then Dave Bautista's character, he's the same way. He really does try and help people. He's not in this to get rich. So they do try and add a little bit of depth to it. It's not your cookie cutter characters that you've seen everywhere. But I've said this before and I'll say it again: great villains, make great films, and none of the villains here are really just that compelling. Even the guy that they bring in as the big bad guy, it's very generic. I can't think of any of the characters that had a backstory that made me interested in like, I want to know more. I want to find out more and, see how they got to where they're at now. And so in that respect, it falls flat. And Sterling Brown, I think he does a great job in this. But, as far as the acting, but as far as his character, and he's really kind of the main guy alongside Jodie Foster, the protagonist, if you will, which is kind of hard because he's a villain. He's a bank robber. But not that he isn't compelling in his acting, but just that his role, it doesn't really leave you much to be interested in his character. So that said, like I said, I know I just spent a bunch of time talking bad about the film. I was not bored. I can tell you that. Being able to see, it's definitely not something that I would pay to see. Or if you don't have Amazon, I definitely wouldn't get Amazon just to see this film or something like that. Or, I wouldn't plan a movie night around this film. But as something to have on and something to watch, I was entertained throughout. I wasn't sitting looking at my watch counting down the minutes to when the movie was going to end. So for the platform that it's on, if you just want to watch something streaming, you got nothing to do, or you want to be mindlessly entertained, that like I said, I think it's great for because I was entertained watching it, and so at the end of the day, I guess it served its purpose. But yeah, that's my score: 6.5 out of 10. Watch this one if you just want to. Sometimes all you're in the mood for is the cheap frozen pizza from Target or the gas station, whatever, and that's all you need. So if that's all you need, and sometimes that's the mood you're